Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar. Thank you for joining us. Today your session will be a co-presentation with VDS, which is Europe's #1 certification institute specializing in fire protection, security, and natural disaster prevention. Our topic will be the application of EN54 fire alarm systems in India. Before we get started, a few important technical information. We will record the webinar and make it available for you via our YouTube channel. All audio lines are muted to ensure the good audio quality. Please send your questions via the Q&A section. It is available in the left side of your screen, right side, sorry, of your screen. You can enter your questions during the webinar at any time. And at the end of the session, we try to answer all of your questions. Let me start with a short introduction about our presenters today. Mr. Jignesh Vora is the sales lead at Bosch Security and Safety Systems in India and SAARC. Dr. Florian Schar, coordinator of partner relations at VDS. Mr. Rajkumar, who is the product marketing manager business unit Fire in India and SAARC. And my name is Anna Balázs and I am the moderator of the webinar today. Our webinar is built around 4 blocks. We would like to start a small intro about our company, Bosch Security and Safety Systems. Then we continue with the VDS presentation, which will be followed by a short introduction about our Safety System Designer program. And at the end, we close our session with a block to answer your questions. And now, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Jignesh. We cannot hear you.
Everyone, I'm Jignesh Vora.
Yes, it's but it's so far away, so I don't know.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jignesh Vora, taking care of business unit Fire for India and SAARC countries. Let me give you a small brief about the Building Technology Division and Business Unit Fire for India and SAARC. Building Technologies has 3 product lines. One is the safety, security, and communication range of business. In safety, we have fire detection system and public address system. In security, we have video surveillance, intrusion detection, and access control and video management software and solution. And in communication, we have public address, conference, professional sound system, and critical communication system as a part of our portfolio. I have a question. Why fire safety matters a lot to a industry? If you can see, observe that around 4,000 people every year being killed by fire in India. So if you notice that 11 deaths per day, 190 people are hospitalized in India every day with severe fire injuries, and close to 126 billion, approximately around 1% of India's GDP is burned in fire cost yearly. And 3 minutes is all it takes today for a fire to engulf an entire room. So fire and safety system is it's the utmost important for any commercial, residential, or industrial applications. I would like to give you a brief about the Bosch Building Technology Division of Fire. If you notice, we have started our business in business unit Fire in 1920, and today we are sitting on 2020. So Bosch has a close to around 100 years of experience in business unit Fire. We have started our division of business unit Fire in India in the year 2005, and then we have come up with a smoke detector technology dual ray, fire FPA 5000 panel, and then now in last 3-4 years we have a video based fire detection system, safety system designer tool, and currently this year we have launched Avenar panel per se for 2000 and 8000 series. So every year we are coming up with a new development for fire industry, and we are keep on coming up with a new product every year. If you notice, we have won a lot of global awards for various product range. These are some of the list of products, the awards which we have won recently in last 7 to 8 years. If you see the fire portfolio of Bosch, we have a complete range of product available with us. May it be addressable panel from 1 loop expandable up to 32 loop panel, and various panels can be networked together. State-of-the-art Avenar series of detectors and devices, and video-based fire detection, remote services, and other equipments like sounder, strobe, control module, and third-party equipments available for making the fire detection system complete. And we do have a voice alarm system, analog as well as digital PA system, which can be seamlessly integrated with fire detection system. Now I would request Dr. Shar Florian to present on VDS.
Thank you. Well, namaste, dear fire protection experts. It's a pleasure to be, here with the Bosch team, with you. I'm sorry we're not doing this in person because I totally love coming to India, and hopefully once all this lockdown jail has ended, can be in your great country again soon. Now, why should you spend 30 minutes and anyhow care what I am talking about my institute? Because I have some information that will hopefully cause you to say after this webinar, yes, this was totally helpful for my daily work and business. One basic issue I hear a lot from our partners around the globe selling top safety systems is buyers stating, hey, why the heck do I need fire protection safety systems? Because I'm not a chemical plant, I'm not a pizza bakery, there's no chimney, there are no candles burning in my company, so there can never be a fire. I hear that very often, our customers hear that very often, our partners hear that very often. So I'd like to start by supporting you with some helpful statistics on this very wrong claim. If you know those already, give me some hands up in the Q&A box and I'll skip this part. Any study I've seen around the entire world states that the main source of fire in all industrialized countries, including India, including Germany, is always electricity. Catastrophes like this one pictured can happen from installation flaws, can be caused by simple aging in the electric systems, in the ventilation, in the lights, in the computers, also in the many sockets that can never be switched off, affecting every single sector, affecting every single building. Every 3 seconds, a fire breaks out around the globe. And Germany has an extremely high level of regulation. There was even an article recently in a large newspaper titled The Dictatorship of Fire Protectors. And still, there is a larger fire at a company every 5 minutes. 1 single kilo of burning plastic creates up to 2,500 cubic meters of smoke. When just a computer burns, the product of this combustion is always hydrocyanic acid in the air. This was used as a chemical mass murder weapon in World War I and was then banned in the Land Warfare Act because it was so cruel. So in a fire, we have exactly this weapon, banned for use in war, in the offices, in the factories. Studies in Germany show that the smoke damage usually exceeds flame damage tenfold. Another operator argument often heard is, hey, I have insurance. So if there is a fire, everything will be paid for. I don't have to worry at all. But after a somewhat larger fire, a company usually looks like this. The ability to provide services is massively limited. no matter whether it's a production plant, it's a shopping center, a stadium, or anything else. Studies in the United States and Germany show that 1 year after a larger fire, only 26%, 1/4 of the affected companies are still working, are still in the market. Why? The damage is paid by the insurance company, yes. Quite often, even the business interruption is paid by the insurer. Okay, but fire destroys a company's infrastructure. Usually, special machinery is affected. Here we have a waiting period of at least 6 months for a replacement. And it's also not exactly easy to get the special craftsmen needed to rebuild such a severely damaged complex. So the companies can no longer supply. Therefore, even the very best customers are forced to leave because no customer can wait months, maybe years for a delivery. This is what finally forces companies into insolvency after a fire damage. As our insurers say, when larger fires happen, the business interruption insurance only covers the time up till insolvency. And so let's say enough of these bad statistics, horror statistics, give us some good news. I do, and you do. You are safely protecting your customers, human lives, also the environment from these bad numbers by relying on the immediate and proven reaction of VDS certified automatic safety systems. Our job as Europe's #1 institute for the certification of fire protection products is to answer the one key question for everyone involved in fire protection technology. Will that work in an emergency? Because everything else, which specific system it is, the design, even the price is secondary. And that this core matter is definitely proven and ensured in practice can be seen at first glance with the VDS quality seal. Recognized also by the Bureau of Indian Standards, and maybe interesting for those of you doing projects there, also the Emirates, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Hong Kong, China, many more countries. The VDS guidelines are basing on the European norms, so I'm giving you a little background here. European safety norms basically started in the year 1967 with a terrible fire tragedy in Brussels. We had a fire at a mall, 251 dead. And if you look at the pictures and say, hey, this second Brussels picture is looking a lot like Kolkata. It is because it is Kolkata, because we can say the European safety norms and the IS, for example, the 2189, are kind of sharing the same background. We had this heavy fire in 1976. In India, there were a lot of really heavy, tragic fire with hundreds of losses in the year 2008. And if that happens, of course, there is high pressure from the public opinion and from the media on the government. Hey, don't just go on like nothing happened, do something. And in both cases, European and Indian governments decided, okay, let's come up with a standard. So one consequence of this Brussels fire was the European safety norms. The first safety norm we had was on fire classes, and every European norm is named or numbered in order it is appearing. So the second European norm ever, that was the one on safety classes, followed in the year 1976 by the product standard EN54 for fire detection and alarm systems. Target test methods performance criteria for effectiveness and reliability to be assessed and declared. You'll get a presentation afterwards. This is just a little overlook so you can see everybody from so many countries, people are putting their brains into the EN series. Now I'd like to take you on a way to a little standard comparison between the European norms and Underwriter Laboratory standards for fire detection, control and indicating equipment, CIE. Basically, those standards, not only for the CIE, but for every other technology or any other matter, are in constant motion, in flux. We have a nice idea. The Americans also add that. The Americans have a nice idea. We add that. That is copying for global safety, basically, and that is why you are seeing a lot of similarities here. A few differences. First of all, the humidity. UL is testing at 95 plus minus 2%. We are testing at 5 to 95%. I would say in many regions of India, we are probably way closer to the 5% humidity than to the 95% from UL. Then you also see the system fault. UL products don't have that at the moment. We think this is very important, and I assume that UL will take this into account in the next issue. But currently the status is only VDS approved systems like those of Bosch offer this. The increasingly important software within the FDAS is constantly monitored, mostly by a watchdog program. And if a single byte is missing or goes just a little the wrong way, then instantly your customers are informed. Then you can also see a little difference in the fault signal, which UL calls trouble. This fault signal, this trouble signal must happen if, for example, a detector is being removed or maybe happens quite often trashed by the cleaning person. I don't assume somebody will die because of a 100-second fault signal differences, but we can also emphasize that the Bosch products give this important warning signal in half the time as the UL products. You also have one above the lowest row, the silencing of sounders. Of course, we both have that. The first question I asked when I saw this, and which I also hear quite often when presenting this, is what? Why would I ever want to silence the sounders? That is, for example, when the fire brigade arrives, they like to turn the alarm off for coordinating their rescue activities. But if a fire breaks out at any other place within the building, the alarm does start again. So same as, for example, at Underwriter Laboratories, the VDS testing, the EN testing is subdivided into the two main parts, functional testing and environmental testing. Basically, our job is to heavily mistreat the products and the systems and then make sure they still work. So you can see directly at first sight, yes, this has VDS on it. This will save human lives and entire companies. Long-term, after artificial aging, and also under any, even the toughest environmental conditions. Because no matter whether it's the Cricket World Cup, India just scoring against England, India winning, or it's the high point of the Diwali festivities, the systems are safely watching 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, clearly proven in our laboratories. I have directly underlined here the two probably decisive points for you. Of course, there's a frequent situation that consultants, planners, and installers report to us again and again. They are to install a fire protection system. and the authorities maybe require compliance with Indian standards or ISO or EN. The operator may state, hey, we are part of an American corporation, so our fire alarm technology must comply with NFPA requirements. And then maybe the insurance company comes along and demands this system must be installed according to VDS guidelines, because that's the German insurers. When this happens, like so often, those responsible, so mostly you fine listeners, usually ask themselves the following very important technical question, and that is, why me? But hopefully, we can make your work much easier here. VDS approved products comply at all times with European standards, almost always with ISO specifications. And VDS approved products can always be used in installations according to IS 2189 and also NFPA 72. And also NFPA 2001 if some of you are also doing gas. For this, you will receive some written proof right after this webinar. So with VDS approved Bosch products, you are directly covering all relevant standards directly from one source. Done. Okay, don't worry, I'm not going through all this. I'll just highlight some points. As I said, you get the presentation afterwards, so you can check out every detail if you like. Comparison between VDS, BRE, FM, UL on heat detectors. If you look at point 4 and 5, can probably not read it on the computer, but later on the PDF. UL is currently not ensuring the detectors also react in high ambient temperatures. So we think this is quite important, especially for the usual heat in most Indian regions. Same thing on the smoke detectors. Point 2 here is the ingress of foreign bodies. This was one of the main triggers of false alarms in Germany in spring and summer when loads of insects are flying around. And many Indian regions always have German spring and summer temperature. And as we know, frequent false alarms caused by the insects entering make users hate the technology and not react when a real alarm is happening. The intrusion of bugs or other insects can be prevented by a very simple, cheap grid. So I strongly assume that in the next guideline standard version, UL will reasonably demand this. Yeah, a little explanation also may be important for your work on point 4, repeatability. We measure every result 6 times in a row to make sure that the detectors are not just containing a random luck generator. And point 6, we perform all tests with 20 detectors to make sure they all react the same way, all for ensuring your safety, the safety of your customers. One more on the smoke detector testing. On the left side in blue, you see the smoke duct, which any certification institute has to buy for tests according to the European norms. It creates artificial smoke aerosols and measures exactly how many of them are in the air when a detector reacts. On the right, you'll see the wooden box in which UL puts burning cotton cords and then counts the seconds till the detector goes off. Another important assurance for you and a unique selling point for the VDS approved products is the system approval. Each of us knows the case. We have a system in which, let's say, 100 parts are installed and combined. 99 of them work perfectly, 1 is scrap. Then there's a pretty good chance that the entire system will not work, cannot save anyone, cannot protect any building. With VDS approved technology, this cannot happen because we always ensure the safe functioning of all components in their direct interaction as a whole system. Also at full capacity like power for FDAS or the highest pressure for extinguishers. That's why our approach is called the all-round worry-free solution by governments, consultants, and other fire protection experts around the entire world. Now, if this system test is so important, why isn't everybody doing this? You can see it's not in the American approach because it's very expensive. Manufacturers do change one component and they have to pay for an entire system test again. What Bosch is doing this is paying this for totally ensuring the proven safety of your services and also, of course, your customers. Yeah, so NFPA 72 is very important, very often used around the world. So a little more background information here. NFPA requires listed products, also named approved or certified. And the thing is, since NFPA is a US standard, people sometimes assume listed means UL listed. But NFPA by no means requires that testing and listing shall be based on an American product standard. They leave this open for purpose, allowing for solutions that provide an equivalent or better safety level, as quoted from chapter 1.5. They demand a regular monitoring of product, of course, done by VDS and any EN institutes, because it's important, because we want you, when you buy it, to get exactly the same quality as was tested in a laboratory. And a competent organization accepted by authorities having jurisdiction. Yes, VDS is #1 in Europe and accepted by authorities all over the world, of course, including Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS. So products approved by VDS, like the Bosch products, can be used anytime in NFPA 72 installations. Yeah, I told you European norming started in 1976. At that time, we were already around about 70 years old. Founded 112 years ago, which is nice and fitting because it's the German and Indian emergency call number. Backing you with worldwide unique expertise gained in more than 30,000 system inspections every year. And the core point, detecting any flaw in the highly complex technology immediately and not while fire is raging, while every second counts. Not a good moment to find out a system isn't working that good. So as you can see, we are also cooperating with, for example, the Fire Security Association of India, with FM Global, and also with our UK partners from LPCB. There is the European Fire and Security Group, consisting of the top laboratories on the continent. They are regularly auditing and attesting us, and we are also sharing the outcomes of our certification. So for example, anybody has LPCB certification, it's quite easy to get VDS as well, or vice versa, because we are accepting each other's certification outcomes. The core point, since we are 112 years old, is we have been testing fire protection technology ever since it was first used. So we know exactly where to look for to find any flaws that might endanger your customers or your work. One more thing that could be important for your work is that a very big player in the safety markets are, of course, the insurers. So when you are dealing with them, it should be quite helpful to mention that VDS was originally founded as the official sprinkler testing laboratory of the German insurers. Sprinkler, because in 1908 that was the only automated fire protection technology existing. And we are still 100% owned by the German Insurer Association, with members like Allianz or Munich Re. And of course, with annual payments for fire damage amounting up to 2 billion euros every single year in Germany alone, the insurers keep a very close eye on fully reliable safety technology. Now we are also publishing our own guidelines, renowned worldwide for highest precision and usability. And we're quite happy that the Safety and Construction Press, also I guess it was the Indian Safety Review, named our guidelines the technical holy books. Usually VDS comes up with a guideline first, and then many years later EN and ISO and other international standards are following by copying a lot from our guidelines. You have more than 700 publications, many of those for free download. Unfortunately, if you look at the shop address in the last row, why is that italic? Because our publishing house is currently making over the international version of the shop, so it's unfortunately not working right now. You'll get a message from Bosch once we have that done, I think in around about 1 or 2 weeks. If any of you is looking urgently for any kind of VDS product installation P&I guideline, just send me an email and I will send that over to you. And also, concerning the guidelines, especially for those of you who are planning and installing fire detection and alarm systems, I've added some info from the VDS P&I guidelines. Too much for our time slot now, but as I said, you'll get the PowerPoint afterwards, and this will hopefully be supportive for your important daily work. The one here on the recommended choice of detectors for special surroundings. And then is this the guideline VDS 2833 on over voltage protection, unfortunately available at the moment only in German. So I have taken out the most important key points and have listed them for you here, because I hear there's also a lot of thunderstorms happening in India, so maybe important for protecting your work. So the core question when it comes to fire protection technology is always, does the whole thing work? Will it work after it's been installed years ago and then suddenly there's the emergency? And the mission of VDS is to answer exactly this core question for you. You can tick off this highly important point and concentrate on all the other difficult planning and consulting issues you need to focus on. We take this very important duty off your back because you will know long-term reliability made visible at first sight with German engineering. So I hope this was useful to you, to our joint cause of protecting human lives and costly properties and the environment by reducing fire. If you like, check the VDS LinkedIn channel for all safety benchmark and guideline news. And Daniel, for your time. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to support you in this.
Thank you, Florian, for the great presentation. And of course, the time is also for the audience. Use this session and send their questions that we are going to answer after the last couple of couple of slides. Now I would like to give the floor to Rajkumar Please share some thoughts about the Safety System Designer program.
Thanks, Anna. Thank you so much. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out and participating in this event today, in this call. We have participants from India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan and Maldives as well. So thank you so much for taking time out and joining us in this call. Before I start talking about two topics, of course, one is the safety systems designer, and then I would also, handle the Q&A session. So before I get into this, I just want to, I request everyone to put the questions in the Q&A session on the right side of the screen here, so that at the end of this session, I would be able to ask questions to Dr. Florian, and then we can probably get them answered. So whatever questions you have, please feel free to put it in this chat window. Thank you so much. Right. Safety systems designer. For people, for customers, for partners who have been associated with Bosch fire systems, I'm sure you appreciate, you understand that we had a tool called FSD, a fire systems designer, somewhere in, I think, in 2000, until 2016 or 17, I suppose we had this tool called FSD, yeah, a fire system designer. Like how we were so handicapped in school or in college without a calculator, or today in our design and estimation job with respect to making offers and designing fire alarm systems for our customers, without a Microsoft Excel, we are handicapped. We don't have the right tool to do some math and to do some calculations. Likewise, we want to introduce Safety Systems Designer, shortly called as SSD, as the tool for design and estimation engineers, and also for people who install systems, who commission systems, basically for project engineers. Let us put it this way. So the point is this: when it comes to safety, when it comes to fire alarm systems, there are too many stakeholders. You have the customer, and then you have the consultant, and then the project PMCs, and then you have the system integrators, and then you have the end users who are going to take over the system from the system integrators. There are too many stakeholders, right? From the design to the time it's implemented, we probably have to come across, many stakeholders. Things change with time when the projects are being built. Many things get changed, and then you may have to accommodate to those changes, make changes to your system, and then you make sure that this is working perfectly for this building. Now, the biggest problem that we have encountered is on the drawings, on the design, it looks very different, but when you actually go to the site, it's a lot more different than what you expect. So between a design and estimation engineer to a project engineer, there could also be a communication gap, right? So this is what we have been telling our partners many a times, and this has really worked for us. So this safety systems designer is a calculator. It's a fire calculator. That's how I would like to call it. It's so easy. If you're good to surf the internet, you know how to play with the software too. It's drag and drop. It's just adding few detectors and modules and things like that. For example, I as a design, for example, if I was allowed to design a fire alarm system for a building, now my questions would be, how many detectors, how many loops do I consider, how many control modules, where do I place sounders, and how many sounders do I consider in one loop? Is the current okay? Can I go this distance of 1 kilometer in a loop or 1.1 kilometer in a loop? All these questions would keep coming to me. Now, the answer is not that you'll have to go back and refer a data sheet of Bosch. The answer is you have the software, installed in a system, drag the detector, select the number of detectors that you have in a loop, drag a control module, tell the software how many control modules you have in this loop. The calculator would tell you what is the length you can achieve with a 1.5 square mm cable, or probably with a 2.5 square mm cable, and things like that. Yeah. And you have 10 such similar loops. You don't have to do it 10 times. You just copy paste this 10 times, and then this panel is ready. Now you have one fire alarm panel done, prepared for this project, but this is a project which has two of the similar panels network together. You can just do that too. So you can build a complex system in this software and then have things working for you, meaning something like this. Yeah, you can see the panel, for example, the panels, the loop cards, the interface modules, everything here on the display like this on the leftmost corner. Yeah, And second, you can also get a bill of BOQ or a BOM, and then you can also do a battery calculation, for example. You can do a loop calculation, and you'll also be able to export an Excel file of the bill of material, a Word file of a tender document, a tender text. You can also export a system drawing in JPG or PNG format, yeah, of how the fire alarm panel is with so many different number of loop cards, what is the loop length, so many number of detectors and things like that. So this is a software which makes your day-to-day job easier. I'm only talking about a design and estimation engineer so far. What is expected out of a design and estimation engineer is to make sure a right fire alarm system is designed for this building, for this inquiry that's come from a customer place, right? We have designed, we have made an offer to the customer, we have won the project. Now, after we win the project, yeah, now there is someone else who takes over the project from us, from a design and estimation engineer. It is the commissioning engineer who's going to take over. It is the project engineer who's going to take over. When he takes over, he doesn't take over with the drawings that the customer has given. He doesn't take over only with the the purchase order that has come from the customer. He also takes over with a lot of documents that you would be giving him from this software. For example, the planning, the loop length, and things like that. Yeah, when probably you designed a loop length, you only had about 15-20 detectors, or let's say 100+ detectors in one loop. But when at the time of commissioning, customer has asked you for more loops or more more detectors in one loop. Now, saying yes to a customer is easy, but achieving this in the customer place in the project is very difficult. Therefore, you do the math, you do the calculation in this software, and the software will tell you whether it is possible or whether it is a yes or a no. The software will do a check thoroughly. If you're loading too many devices onto this loop, yeah, and let's say the loop is overloaded, probably you're not able to achieve that distance, or probably there's not enough current in the loop for you to power the devices. This software will continuously check and then notify you saying whether this is a healthy loop or not. Yeah, so overall, I believe that this fire calculator, or safety system designer that I would like to call it as, is a tool for design and estimation engineers, point one. And of course, it is also a tool for the project engineers, right? Now you can also introduce this to consultants, to specifiers, to planners. The reason being, you can also get an output of a fire alarm system in a tender form, in a BOM form, or you can also export a drawing out of this software, which obviously the consultants would want to whenever a system is being designed. Yeah, I would request that everyone can make this opportunity to download the file from the web, get it installed, and of course there is a registration that you may have to do. It comes to us, and even before we approve, you can get to use the software, and after we approve, you can use it much better. Yeah, that's the point. The links are here, and of course this also would be shared after this presentation to you. Right. Anna, should we get into the Q&A?
Yes, I think we can continue with the Q&A.
But I only see a few questions here, but anyway, let's start. Yeah, I mean, meanwhile, I would request the participants to please type in the questions here so that we can go one after the other. And we are left with another 10 minutes, Anna, 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, we are left with 15 minutes.
Approximately.
Okay. Dr. Florian, question to you.
Yes.
First question is from Leonard, and I suppose it was in slide number 9 or slide number 10. The question is, what do you mean by digital faults?
Hang on, wrong presentation. I guess it was this one, the digital system fault. That is, we are using more and more digital parts, commanding abilities, everything within the FDAS. And the thing is that EN54 is currently demanding to also have a watchdog program installed that is currently monitoring every single thing the software is doing. And normally the software is just walking like this, and if there is one single byte going in the wrong direction or stopping or something, then the watchdog is giving an alarm. So no matter what effect it might have on a system, you're directly getting a system fault alarm, digital system fault alarm, that something could go wrong, and you can directly go for it, interact with the system before anything bad might happen. It's basically a watchdog program that always has to be inserted. I hope that has answered the question for you.
Yes, hopefully yes.
Great, hope so. If not, just write me an email. My mail is on the last slide, or just type in again if you need to know anything else.
Sure. And the next question, of course, I think it's to us. The question is about whether we'll be able to share the link to download the software, the SSD software. Yeah, can you share some demo of software via any PPT if possible? Mr. Devender has asked this question. Devender, if you can just tell us, where are you from, which location, then, via the chat window, then one of our colleagues, closest to you can be, given your contact, and they can help you with the PPT, and they can also show you some demo. Yeah, we can either do it on Skype or Teams, possibly, or even we can drop into your office and then we can do a demo to you.
But probably we can mention that this option is available for everybody. So who is interested in, we are open to have additional sessions.
Yeah. Sure. And then the next question is from Akshay. The question is, I'll just read the question and then probably I may explain it. How it differs EN54 compliance system only and VDS approved system? Do you get the question, Dr. Florian?
Yeah, I did get it. Basically, the target of the European safety systems is they want to get people out of the building in case of a fire alive. Target also of VDS, but since we are belonging to the insurers who have to pay for the damaged building and the damaged property inside the building, they have a strong focus on also protecting the building and the costly technology or infrastructure within the building in total. And that is mostly the difference. So we are always fulfilling the life safety European standard norms, but we are adding some specifications for also protecting the building and the values in there themselves.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Dandavat.
Next, the question is, can we have the link to design and estimation software? Okay, so I suppose someone, I think they're not able to, copy the link. Then I'll try to copy and paste it in the chat window.
Rajkumar, the QR code that in your last slide goes to the planning page. So
it goes to the planning page, is it? Okay.
So then the planning page, somewhere at the bottom, we have placed this downloadable link. So immediately you could get it.
Okay, fine. Super. Do we get some information about GUI software and remote gateway in SSD? Yes, I mean, in the safety systems designer, I mean, this software, there is always, an update to the software every, I mean, approximately say about every 3 months or 4 months, you always have an update that comes to you. And with the updated SSD in your system, you definitely have information of all the new products that Bosch would launch. For example, the graphical software could be FSM 2500 or FSM 5000 or FSM 10K. Yeah, you have information of all these 3 softwares, and also on remote connect and remote services, you do have information on this. Yeah. For example, there's a product that you want to select, and let's say you do not know what the product is. Then on clicking this in a picture of the product, you get some snippets of the product, and it also takes you to the web page where you get much more information of what the software is all about. But in short, to answer your question, I know this latest of SSD has information of the graphical software and remote gateway as well. Yeah. Okay, and next question. Arindam Badra need to know about commissioning of alarm system. Okay, Arindam, Yeah, I mean, in short, if it is FPA 5000 or Avenar 2000 and Avenar 8000 that we're talking about, in Bosch Bangalore office, we have an academy running called Bosch Security Training Academy. So this academy does trainings, almost every month pre-COVID. Yeah, almost every month pre-COVID. But after COVID, we're not allowed to conduct trainings in person, and therefore we're not doing it. Since March 2020 to now, we have not done in-person training so far. But however, we do have a lot of training materials on the web, on our training academy on the web. So you can connect with one of your nearest colleagues, and they will be able to give you the link from where you will be able to participate in the training program. Yeah, finish a few modules for yourself. Yeah, and then if further required, you can connect with us, and then we can do probably a Skype event shortly on or a Teams event of how to commission the system. And we're also in the planning stage to do a training in person in the Bangalore office somewhere in November. Yeah, November we are planning to conduct one such training. About 20 participants would be called across the country. So whenever you receive this email, please be quick enough to nominate yourself so that you are being considered in this training. So this year, I suppose we'll only have one training in November, and from 2022 onwards, I think it's going to be much more regular. Yeah, thank you so much. Leonard, a question from Leonard, Dr. Florian, to you. I saw FM Global in your collaboration. Does it mean that FM Global will actually approve the test reports that are being certified? VDS will be usable in getting FM certificates.
No, we are not that far at the moment. The direct acceptance of certification and of testing outcomes is only within the European Fire and Safety Group. So LPCB or French AFNOR, or check out efsg.org for all members, but it is solely European. So we are cooperating with FM, but definitely not yet on such a nice basis. I know it would be very good for the people who are working with the systems, but we cannot offer this at the moment, sorry.
Thanks, Dr. Florian. Dr. Florian, I have a question with respect to VDS topic. Yeah. Of course, we have known from colleagues in Germany about VDS and its background. I'm not too sure if we even spoke about this here in this session. The founders of VDS. Mm-hmm. Can we talk a bit of that, please?
Yes. Yeah, it was somewhere around 1900. Sprinter technology was invented and then also came to German companies. And the insurers that were at the time 1900 working in Germany said, okay, this is a very nice, very important technology, because as we all know, before automatic fire systems came up, fire was seen as an unstoppable nature catastrophe that always leveled entire cities once it happened. And now we had the sprinklers to fight them. And of course, the insurers, when paying for things, wanted to make sure those sprinklers really worked. So they designed a technical department within the joint insurance companies, consisting of people that would inspect the several sprinklers and check out if they are really working. So of course, when later FDAS was coming up, or smoke detectors, heat detectors, whatever, the insurers were reacting. We're building up these technical inspectors, and sooner or later we had gotten so big that they were releasing us into the market as an independent company, but still 100% owned by the German insurers.
Is it even now the same?
Yeah, we are 100% independent, but 100% owned by the insurers. And the insurers, of course, have a very strong look at the guidelines we are publishing, because they are paying 2 billion euros for fire damage alone in Germany every single year. So they are having a very tight eye on reliable fire protection. And I think that's very important for your work when working with the Indian or other international insurers, to mention that we are a 100% subsidiary of the German Insurance Association.
Right. And May we know who the prime insurers are or who the founders are of VDS? I mean, meaning in terms of name?
Yeah, 112 years ago, they were all named different, but today the main members of the German Insurer Association are the Allianz, who are working worldwide, and of course Munich Re, who are working worldwide. Also, I think Zurich is a member only for the German parts. You can basically take in that any German insurer is a member of the German Insurer Association, which are the father parent company of VDS.
Okay, nice. Good to know. Thank you.
Hope so.
Another question from me again. When are you setting up an office in India?
Yeah, I would really love that. But we're waiting for that. We say we are always going country by country. That's why at the moment we are focusing on Europe. But I'm always talking to my boss, hey, India is quite important. Also, Bosch is saying that India is very, very important for them. So, of course, we're bugging all the time. I hope this will happen sooner or later, but I can't give you any specific date at the moment. Sorry.
Okay. Doctor, another question. Now we understand that, of course, IS 2189 is a document that we all refer to on a day-to-day basis. And of course, you also have had a look at IS 2189. And I mean, nothing against it, but there's a lot to be done. A lot of work to be done in terms of shaping up this document to the next level.
Yeah.
IS 2189, like how NFPAs are being looked at by many or most of the countries. IS 2189 should also be referred by many countries, or probably it has to become so nice that it is so complete, and it makes sure that people in India, consultants in India, customers in India refer to IS 2189 and always, and they build systems as per those standards. So is VDS playing a part in terms of working with the building codes or with BIS? Do you have any connects with them in trying to shape up things, or you said that you have some association with worldwide organizations, and also it includes FSAA for India. So do you have some MOUs, or do you have some some sort of an engagement with BIS or with FSAA in terms of shaping up the standard to the next level? What is the contribution that VDS would want to put forth?
Yeah, I'm in contact with FSAI on this matter, and of course we'd be happy to give our support to further developing this standard. And also, since it's always important to have some united standards worldwide, maybe cooperating on the ISO committees or whatever. So we are definitely working on that.
Okay. Another question. VDS, or rather EN54 systems, that is mostly available in India. We always talk about panel redundancy, controller redundancy, let's say. Typically, all the EN54 manufacturers, EN54 manufacturers coming in from Europe, and the systems that are built as per EN54, in India, whenever we get into a power plant project, be it nuclear or thermal power plants, most of the times, panel redundancy is a topic. Yeah. And such projects, it is one of the European manufacturers who would back. It could be Bosch or someone else. Yeah. The point here is, you will talks a bit less on redundancy, or probably they don't even speak about redundancy in their projects. And most of the UL manufacturers that I've come across, and the systems that are built as per UL systems, for example, I do not recollect if they have redundancy as a topic to offer. So the question to you is, why is redundancy so important to EN54 standards, and how do you look at it?
Well, we say it's highly important because, as we all know, we're working with electronics here, and there's always something that can go wrong, whatever happens. I just mentioned the cleaning person is just pushing its stuff up a little bit too much, and it's hitting the FDAS. And this is why we say you always have to have redundancy in there as a double backup. So if anything happens to the system, you don't have to worry at all, because it's still working just because of this redundancy. We're testing for highest quality, testing for long-term reliability, but you can never know what's going to happen in practice. And this is why we say redundancy is highly important. And of course, then you get an info that something has to be done. and setting up the second redundancy again. Very important also from all my experiences in the safety market is this redundancy. I can only recommend always following that. Yeah, and the Bosch systems have that, of course.
Yeah. Okay. And we also have heard that in Germany, it is a norm or a standard to change detectors after 7 years. Is that right, Florian?
Now that for the home detectors, but you're talking about the industrial detectors, right?
I'm talking about the industrial detectors. Yeah.
Yeah, that is always basing on what the manufacturer is recommending. They have a maximum lifespan. I know there has been some controversy because people say, hey, at home you only have to change them every 10 years. Why do you have to do that more often in the industrial area, where they are much more regularly maintained or checked for cleanliness and everything? But that is always different for the system. Whatever norm you're working on, they are recommending changing after several years.
And that recommendation comes in from EN54, or does it come from VDS?
Normally it should come from EN54, and then we are taking it in. And if anything was happened where we say, okay, it's safer to maybe change that every 5 or 6 years, but I never heard of that, then of course we would go down for some years. But I didn't hear of that, so I'm pretty sure it will be the normal number.
Right. Okay. Here in India, we have got some customers. Sometime back they've asked us if Bosch could do it. They are happy buying a Bosch fire alarm system. Yeah, and of course they are getting installed by one of our channel partners who are trained from the academy, and of course it's a nice installation. Now, at the end of it, they would like to have Bosch visit them, or an institute like VDS visiting them to see if the entire installation in the factory is done as per standards. So I would like to ask you here in this forum if VDS would be able to offer this visit. If you will be able to visit this facility here in India, coming in from Germany, doing an audit of the system installation and certifying it to be as per VDS or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We're doing that. We are offering the services of the so-called technical inspection services, and they are traveling worldwide for finally ticking off if the systems are installed perfectly, working perfectly. Yeah, the core problem is the traveling cost, because you have to pay the people from going from Germany to India. So what I can also recommend, what they are also doing, is doing project planning approvals. So you just send over copies of the plannings of the installation plans you have for the several technologies, several systems. They have a look at that, and then they can tick it off. Or if you like, you can also have them come over to India. But unfortunately, as long as we don't have an Indian office, it's going to be a bit costly.
Yeah, I understand that.
But
yes.
Safe.
Okay. Another question, what is the roadmap ahead with FSAI as the MOU is already signed to promote VDS? Yeah, we are given to understand that VDS and FSAI have already signed an MOU.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some understanding. And then what is the roadmap ahead? I mean, what is the discussions? What are the discussions?
And the roadmap is basically of sharing knowledge, which the Indian comrades get on optimal fire safety, and the knowledge we have from the European norming, Gremia, also working together within the ISO and everything, and to share and promote the highest safety standards. This is why we will hopefully also be involved in the IS 2189 makeover.
Okay, sure. And FSI also does a lot of other events here in India. Over the year, for example, I'm given to understand that they conduct a lot of webinars. I mean, the times of COVID, there's been a lot of webinars, but otherwise also they do a lot of trade shows. Pre-COVID, they've done trade shows. So do you have any plans that VDS would participate in one such trade shows, going ahead in the future?
Yes, any time, because I was last time in India at a trade show just a few days, weeks before the lockdown in Germany, and I guess also India. So as soon as all this very unhappy Corona stuff is over, I'll be more than happy to come to India again for any trade shows, for fairs, not webinars, but real webinars, whatever is happening. count on me, but at the moment we have traveling restrictions, unfortunately still. But I could also mention I've just had Corona a few weeks ago, and basically it was just like a normal flu, but it's still all restricted in Germany. Very bad at the moment for us and for doing the seminars. That's why we have to do all this online at the moment. I hate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Another question from Arindam is he needs an official letter about lifespan of detector, MCB module and panel. Okay, Arindam, I mean, wherever you are from, whichever location you are from, I would only request you that you connect with the nearest office, Bosch office, and then we discuss on this topic separately outside this call. Thank you so much, Arindam. Okay, Anna, I mean, that's the end of questions that we have here in this chat window, right?
Yes, thank you very much. We have received so many interesting questions, and thank you very much all of your answers, Florian, and also for your participation.